Good morning, traders. Good morning. Happy Monday. And what a wild ride it's been, especially pre-market. I don't know if you guys have been watching the pre-market action, but quite crazy. We just had this huge bounce in the equity markets. I mean, from the low here,
The brief says we are not in tit for tat.
640 points, 2,500 ticks in just over 15 minutes. Wild, wild, wild bounce. Yeah, in 15 minutes. I mean, I've seen like 800,000 point moves, but rarely do we see them in 15 minutes, less than 15 minutes. I mean, this is like 16 minutes. So there was a good setup here. I took it in. So just to show you where I'm at this morning, I'm pretty much locked out for the day. I caught some great trades this morning. I'm up $1,400 in my combines, these new 150K combines. So I hit, between $1,300 and $1,400 in all five. So I'm up over 155 in four of them and 3,400 in the last one. So I locked myself out of these for the day. I caught some really nice trades. I'll go over those trades here in a minute. But I'm still here live trading with you guys, and I'll be calling out setups as I see them. But for those, I am done. So there was a beautiful fade value error extreme setup in NQ here. It did not set up on the other equity markets. It set up perfectly on NQ. All right, so it ripped through VWAP. That would have been a good profit target. This would have been your second profit target if you were able to hold on that long. That'd be incredible. I closed it like right here. We're in the middle of a huge sell-off. And I'm a scalper. So that was that. The VWAP, it tore right through VWAP. Got almost a little bit of a back test here, and then it just continued to rage on. Broke through upper value on the VWAP, and then back tested. That could have been a second long. So that would have been a price discovery setup here. If you tried to short this, you probably would have lost. Normally, that would have been a setup, but in this type of market, I'd be very scared of just a face-ripping bounce. Look at this sell-off already. As this sell-off, this retracement, 170 points, just a matter of minutes. So this is not normal volatility. This is extreme volatility, particularly for NQ. So trade small, stay sharp. This is not your normal market. This is not a sleepy VIX under 20 market. VIX is almost at 50 here, guys. That's very, very, very high. Let's take a look at the VIX. Look at that. That could have been the top. Look at that. 60. We hit 60 on the VIX, which is one of the highest readings since COVID. Could very well put a bottom in here, guys, based on this VIX reading, but it's still early. We'll see what happens. Back to NQ. So the trades I took this morning, some excellent trades. I called out the huge sellout in copper this morning. I called it out in the room. Let's get rid of this. Let's put this volume on it right around to here.
UKSPM Starmer says what we've said today for the
Okay.
industry is not the
So the setup was this. First of all, we had this huge 5% liquidation sell-off in copper. Okay. So, there could have been a good short here. I missed that. It's also very hard for me to short after such a fast move on that velocity. So I'm looking for the eventual long setup. And if it didn't come, it didn't come, but it did. So the return to value setup was we spent some time out here in price discovery to the short side. This was a good 27. It was about 20 minutes. And now we approached lower value. All right. We bounced off it a little bit. We broke in and we back tested for this huge long. I got in here with a couple contracts on copper and I was up like 900 bucks within minutes. It was huge. So that was the first setup I took this morning. The other one was on the Russell. And I've been trading the Russell mostly through the sell-off because it is, believe it or not, it's had the cleaner setups and the most volatility. It actually limited down or came close to it. I think it tested the limit down last night, but we're just down 2.5% now, so it's safe to trade. This was a long continuation, price discovery continuation. We had some news breaking here. We had this big sell-off, stop run. We reclaimed upper band. I went long. The risk to reward was not so favorable on this. I tried to keep it about 1-to-1 and it just launched up from there. So, and that's what put me over the $1,300 for the day and I shut down.
It says, despite EU efforts, we have not seen engagement.
Those two trades. So I'd won, and I'll put a deeper recap on these later today, but we had a return to value setup on copper and then a price discovery long on the Russell. So those were two fantastic trades and locked it up. So let's go back to NQ. We didn't really get another setup here, and we might not. So we're going to have to probably wait for the initial balance to set on this one and see what it does because there's no setups anymore on this for me. There were two good setups in the first half hour of trading. If you're trading that, that's much more difficult, especially for newer traders. I tend to not recommend it. And this daily chart is starting to look like a bottom wick. Look at that pin. So if we turn green today, that might be very interesting. Any questions on anything I went over so far, guys? Just drop your questions. All right, I'm going to use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back.
Member states and will not change our VAT system. Sefcovic says we are ready to discuss with the US,
Okay.
but solutions need to be a mutual advantage.
So the next real setup on NQ could be a price discovery long. If we get back down to upper band here, which is also the value area high on the session profile here. So that seems like it could be a natural. You might get a little give on that because the low volume node is right around here at 17,000. So that's an additional line to watch right here. Might not bounce exactly. Right here, we might get down here for the long. So I could see this doing one of two things. Go like that, or we go like that. Now the difference between these two setups is, you know, over 100 points. Andrew asked, where are you getting the audio news call outs? I'm getting it for Financial Juice. FinancialJuice.com. I have an annual subscription. They have a Squawk Box feature which is huge in markets like this. I need to know what's happening pretty much any given time. You'll see these huge moves come out of nowhere, and oftentimes it's a news headline dropping. I'm hearing it as fast as you can. Yeah, we might not even get a decent pullback here. Let's take a look at the other markets. Oil also ripping. NASDAQ might go red to green here, guys. Lots of volume flooding into the markets right here.
We're seeing gains coming in the S&P 500, WTI oil, crypto as well.
Dinesh, it might not touch VWAP today.
Assets today.
It could. I don't know what's going to happen. But I've seen days where it trends all day and never touches VWAP. Yeah, it did early on in the session. Kind of ripped through it. We got to value area low and ripped on from there.
Sharp move to the upside here. We're just keeping our eyes out nonetheless. But again, a sharp move to the upside. S&P 500, WTI oil, Bitcoin.
And the NASDAQ's green. Red to green. Holy schmoly.
This way into the green. 0.3% now. Paring back earlier losses very, very quickly here.
Look at this. We're almost up a full percent from when I said red to green. NASDAQ 1% green right now. Yes. Yes, they did, Andrew. Whoever bought that breakout, I'm locked out already. You know, that would have been a fun thing to take, but you know. The pullbacks on this are gonna be nasty as well. Like look at that. That's, you know, it's 100-point retracement in seconds. Craziness. That is insane. Even one micro is crazy today.
European shares as well continuing to trim their losses.
There it goes. Look at it.
600 now down just 2.1%. ABC News report that tariff legal challenge could be filed as soon as Friday.
Thank God. My 401k feels a lot better after that. It's not a 401k, it's a Roth, but feels a lot better after that. A little relief. So much selling. NASDAQ is up 1.3 already. Look at this. I haven't seen stuff like this in a long time, guys. Look at that. Peak to trough right here, guys. 1,600 points. More money flooding in.
So again, the S&P 500 now rising 2.1%, erasing a decline earlier of as much as 4.7%. Again, no news catalyst breaking on the wires at the time for this move. Just keeping your eyes out nonetheless. But again, large moves to the upside in the risk assets here. Seeing strength in government bond yields as well for the US. Again, WTI oil, Bitcoin as well. Canadian dollar even seeing some moves to the upside as well, British pound, etc. EU Sefcovic says sooner or later we will sit at the negotiating table with the US and find a mutually acceptable compromise.
Squawk Box is saying nothing yet. Where'd you see that? I mean, I guess they wouldn't announce a rumor, but nothing on the news wires. Other traders on X. Cool. Um, after a move like that, people are going to want to buy that dip. My trading view data is different than my
So we're seeing
Ninja
some
Trader
sources on
prices.
X here with regards to this move to the upside here. So apparently Hassett said that Trump is running a 90 pause on tariffs aside from China. In comments from White House economic advisor, supposedly they're coming from some sources on X here.
I gotta close this down, guy. I think it's this that's having. Trump is mulling a 90-day pause on tariffs aside from China. So X was privy to the early news. So if anybody's wondering, there's really no setups in this, obviously. So Dinesh, I am sorry.
Eurozone government bond yield
Rough first day, but
German
this
10-year
is
bond
just
up 8 basis points at 2.693%. So again, did just post out that White House senior advisor Hassett headline. Some sources on X pinning this as the reason for this move to the upside here. Not seeing that headline come through on any of the reputable newswire sources, however, but we are still seeing this market reaction come to the upside here. Trump as well orders a CFIUS review of steel purchase. Now seeing traders trim ECB easing bets, no longer fully pricing in 3 cuts.
40. My Ninja Trader can't keep up the prices. It's interesting. TradingView can. Wild. Nasdaq's up 4%. Really hope that was the bottom. That would be nice. My data is all screwed up, guys. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to close this all down and reboot it.
Now finally hitting the main wires here again, White House senior economic advisor Hassett says Trump is considering a 90-day pause in tariffs for all countries except China. So sources here on the newswire citing CNBC as the source of this post.
Can you hear the news loud enough where you could actually understand it? Because that would be cool. Nice. Everyone but China is what they're saying, yeah. So, people are going to be looking to buy this pullback, but how big of a pullback can it have? It can have a huge pullback. I mean, you could try buying here and we could go down another 300 points. This is incredibly difficult to trade. And I would imagine that I mean, look at the,
New Sefcovic says markets are reacting to
look at the ladder.
paradigm shift since World War II.
Look, it's insane. It's thin as anything. There's no bid or ask, really. This is just all random. Look at this. Not so. Yeah, exactly. Matrix on speed. So even trying to scalp it, like getting in the bid and the offer and stuff like that is going to be crazy. So I'm sorry, but this is probably and this is where FOMO gets you, because you see these huge moves and you're thinking in your head, man, I could be making so much money right now. But the reality is that the risk is so great and you can lose so much money so fast. I mean, this thing can sneeze 100 points. Before you know it, you blink your eyes. You can't put in a tight stop because it's going to hit it. So, maybe you have a 200 point stop in this thing. Like, that's what you would need. So the reality is this is not great trading conditions. This thin type of market. It needs to calm down a little bit. It needs to reorganize. We need thicker orders. Yeah, market orders are gonna kill you. I mean, the spread is 6 points. 10 points. 10-point spread. I've never seen a 10-point spread. That's a 40 tick spread on NQ. What's cool is that I'm recording this and one day we can go back and watch this live. These are the days that like you kind of look back and be like, wow, that was a crazy day. I've had a couple of those. I was day trading at a prop firm in 2000 and it was 2008 or 2009 when the flash crash happened. And I watched that in real time. That was wild. It just kept going. We're like, wow. And it felt like slow motion. It was actually happening very fast, but it was just like, and then eventually just. Okay, I got my data back up. Hopefully you can keep up now. Watch you give up this whole move. It's missing a bunch of data. Look at that. There's a big gap in my charts. It's messed up. Yeah, I warned you, Dinesh. This is craziness. Yeah, we're just kind of sitting here watching because this is very difficult to trade. This is not
trading services is a strong
normal
feature of the US
conditions.
business, and the US has 104 billion euros of surplus there.
So this could be theoretically the spot to long for a scalp. But it can melt right through this level. This is just so crazy. There's no, the bid disappeared. Down 1,000 points. We dropped 4% in the last 10 minutes. Oh, there's a little bit of a bounce there. A little bit. Eric, you've been missing all the fun. This has been nutso. See what's going on here. So that was found support right there, upper band. It's a 100-point bounce right there. I didn't take it, but you would have gotten a nice scalp if you did. Huge. Look at that. To the tick almost on that one. Anybody take that? Because that was the setup. It would have worked too. I mean I agree. It would have been insane, but yes. The setup played out nicely. Okay. Yeah, I mean I'm done too. I traded pre-market and I hit some really nice profits. Eric, you missed it, but I was going over my my trades from this morning. I can do that again real quick. So my NinjaTrader can't keep up with the pricing. It's interesting that NinjaTrader would be so delayed. I find that very, very strange. Yeah, so the copper trade I nailed. Let's go over to that. So I'm up, just to go over the accounts, my five, between 1,300 and 1,400 on the day in each account.
Which says when it comes to the volume of counts.
So crushed it. Two huge trades, one on copper, one on the Russell. And I'm now sitting over 155 in 4 of the accounts and 153 in the other. So doing really well here, more than halfway in 4 of the accounts. So I might even get these funded by the end of this week. We'll see. Everything goes well. Copper trade was price discovery, and we spent some time. We had this huge 5% sell-off. I was looking for the return to value setup. And we put in this high volume node here at the bottom and point of control, leading me to believe a lot of buyers stepped in here, along with everything else, the order flow and the cumulative delta. I was waiting for the break into value. We got the back test. I went long, and it went up to IB mid at this point. That's kind of where I got out. So huge trade. That was like $900 in that one. And then the Russell was my other trade. It was a price discovery long. And it's kind of very small here, but we had some news break. We got the stop run into value. We quickly reclaimed. I went long above upper band. And we got this nice newer high over this last peak. So that put me over for like $1,300, $1,400 on the day. And I locked myself out of all the top steps. So, and that all happened pre-market. And I'll put those into the trade recaps later. I think I put the copper one in already. I'll do the Russell one later. And now I'm just kind of watching with you guys. I do not like that pin on Look at that. It's not bullish at all.
We're seeing the results of a Bank of Canada survey here. The Q1 business activity survey indicates they're down 2.14 from 1.16 in Q4.
Let's Kugler discusses inflation dynamics slide presentation. Let's go back to the Bank of Canada survey. Balance of opinion on indicators, future sales of +22 from +30 Q4. 35% of firms believe costs would be pushed higher if widespread tariffs are implemented. As a result, 45% of all firms would increase selling prices.
Well, we're red again.
10% of firms expect Canada to be.
Dow's down 2%. Nasdaq's down 1%. S&P's down 1.5 points. Imagine we get another leg that's even bigger than that last one.
So few businesses expect sales growth to improve over the coming year. 65% of firms believe costs would be pushed higher if widespread tariffs are implemented. Bank of Canada survey says 32% of firms expect Canada to be in a recession over the next year, up from 15% in the fourth quarter.
On X, I'm seeing
Also, Q1 business
no one at the White House is aware of Trump considering a 90-day
Given
tariff
the
pause
trade war with the US,
per CNBC.
uncertainty is widespread.
S&P 500 just fell 230 points from its high in 10 minutes. This is the market we're trading in, guys. This is not for the faint of heart. And this is also not a great market, Dinesh, for a newer trader. I hate to break it to you. This is very difficult.
To 3.39% from 2.99%.
Okay, we got some buyers stepping in.
Also, a separate Bank of Canada Q1 survey of consumers' expectations for the next 12
So
months.
no setup on this. We did get a setup, it looks like, on maybe ES.
Expect a recession up from 46.5%
No.
in the fourth quarter. Many firms are delaying
Actually, this is the
such as those related to investment and hiring intentions.
value area high in the session volume profile. We hit to pretty much the tick there, guys.
Just in regards to when the survey.
So that would have been price discovery continuation long right there off of this
February. And of course, Trump made his wide
value area high on the S&P. Now this is a key level to break right here. We're at IB mid and upper band. So if these rotations weren't so huge, that's a short I would take. But these rotations are too big.
Just a heads up, Fed's Kugler is currently speaking live.
And we got a Fed speaker live right now on top of all this. Anybody take any trades? I know Dinesh took a trade on MNQ. A little late on the long. Anybody else trying to trade this madness?
Also, Bank of Canada services 20% of firms reported outright decline in sales over the previous 12 months, down from 33% in the fourth quarter.
All right, guys, I only trade for 30 minutes live on the YouTube. The entire live session is exclusive for members in the Discord. So be sure to join the Discord if you want to continue staying on with the live feed. Everybody who's on YouTube, thanks for joining us this crazy morning. Sorry there weren't more setups. We had a couple of decent ones. I didn't take them, but per the strategy and system, they would have worked out. But otherwise, those on YouTube, stay sharp and manage your risk out there. And everybody else in the Discord, I'll be staying on.